Absolutely. Hey, T man, that's a fire answer. But then, so let me poke it this way. Um, Obviously, whenever you're dealing with, and I'm talking specific to coaching now, I want to paint the picture this way. And T, you're gonna know exactly where I'm going. When you've had a father, and I'm gonna use myself, I was fortunate. I had a chance to coach my son in little league sports, right? Football, basketball for like 3 or 4 years until I couldn't do it anymore. Then I had to relinquish and let somebody else do it, right? Now me understanding as a former athlete, for me, that was a period in time. It was like I knew that he and I were gonna make some memories that he will remember for the rest of his life. And I told my wife, I said, even though I was a decent athlete, whatever, I'm not putting any expectations on him. I am putting him in it to see what the possibilities are. How is he going to respond? How does he learn what is in it? But if he plays it and then decides I don't want to do this no more, guess what? I don't want to do it anymore. I said that to say this: you have fathers who have been so involved since they were big enough to when the football was bigger than them.
Yeah.
And now they get to the school, and it's like the thing that he's had control over, he doesn't have control anymore. And
Right.
like you said, he has to surrender and trust. So for some men, I'm not making an excuse for them. I
Mhm.
I can recognize the struggle that they're going through, right? Then there are some fathers who I don't even think we have a term for them, right? And that's another podcast. But what I do want to ask you, and I am asking because I want to find a way where we can help them. So how would you give um how what would you say to the father that
Yeah.
finds himself there? And like really
Mm.
he it ain't necessarily a power struggle. He's just
Yeah.
lost in this whole translation of what his son or daughter is going through. And
Mhm.
he don't really know his place now because he's been on the field. Now he's having to be it from the stands. And so to
Mhm.
trust you, what would you say? Because I really wanna help some parents. And I don't want to just say fathers, but
Yeah.
parents who struggle with this because this is a big thing.
For sure. And so you have to ask, you have to communicate, like we said, and like I said, it's your job to trust the process because I'm a professional, or I'm the one getting paid for it, or whatever the case may
Yes.
be, especially at a high level.
Okay.
And so I would ask these parents if I were communicating with them, say, what's the goal for your son or daughter?
Yeah.
And sadly, not sadly, it's smart, but at the end of the day, the first thing they'll say usually, most of the time, is I want him or her to get a scholarship
Yep.
at this level. That's probably
Yep.
the number one goal that people say. But really, that's not the first goal people should say.
Absolutely.
And so when you communicate with this with people and parents, they'll say a scholarship more than likely, but you say you join sports to learn the intangibles, learn how to problem solve. The
Right.
goal for your son or daughter should be how to overcome difficult situations, how to work together as a team, how to communicate, all the
Yep.
things that we know sports are teaching kids.
Hmm.
The things that, how to just, again, overcome difficult situations when things aren't well, when aren't right. You get a bad call from the referee or whatever. How to come out of a slump when you're second string or third string. How do again, this is so many things sports teach, and I could talk about those things all day, obviously, leadership skills, following,
Yes.
everything. And so when you think about those things and you keep that the focus,
Hmm.
those are the things that are going to translate, and those are things that's going to help that student athlete in the future. So
Okay.
I understand temporarily he's not playing well or he's not playing as much as you like. You got to understand that he's developing or she is developing those great skills that's going to set them up to be successful in life. And
Right.
so I will say this real quick: the NCAA. I told you I was coaching for 13 years. I'm at the high school for 9. I was coaching at the college level for 4.
Yes.
And what we did when I was coaching at Division 2 level, what we did then is on a recruiting trip, we had a presentation for parents. We're trying to sell the parents on why their kids should come to our university. And the NCAA at that time, this is 2010 or 11, they put out a promotion on why you should
Hmm.
play sports.
Hmm.
And they said the number one, this is a question I want to see if you know it, that who is the number one group of people, type of people, something that they all have in common, who are getting jobs after college? The number one group or type of people that are getting jobs. Do you know the answer to that?
I would assume college graduates, those who graduate from
Athletes,
college,
college athletes.
college athletes, right?
Yeah. So the
Like
answer,
the
yeah,
the one, yeah, the commercial that they still show it sometimes.
yes.
Mhm.
And so the point is, you know, most people thought, oh, the people who are getting jobs are the 4.0 students, the Magnum cum laude, the Magnum summa cum laude, all that. No, the students that are getting jobs after college were athletes. And it's because the bosses who are hiring people, they know athletes are developing certain skills that you need in your business to thrive. You know, again, just being dedicated, being disciplined, and all the things that you're taught. And so that's what I would communicate with the parent to understand the keeping the main thing.
Yes, sir.
And scholarships are additional. Scholarships will happen, but you got to make sure the focus is on that. And
Mm.
now, parents not going to always want to hear that. This is all about the scholarship. It's about the
Yeah.
money, and it's
Right.
about my kid being in a newspaper.
Right.
But you have to obviously. That's the difficult part. You have to find opportunities, and you have to communicate and find ways to get that kid on the field or get his opportunity. And I've been able to do that, and it they by the end of the year know why they're in a position they are. It's not
Yeah.
because the coach doesn't like them, but it's
Right.
because maybe the guy in front of them is a little bit better or whatever the case may be, splitting time or whatever. So you just have to communicate that. You have to be okay with being the bad guy sometimes.
Absolutely. Let
Yeah.
me put this shameless plug in. T, just on that, you just confirmed something that God placed in my heart to do. I have another podcast that we do, but I hadn't really been using it. But this year, I wanted to do like a month long podcast on the locker room. And what I wanted to have on was current coaches, former players, right? And I wanted to have on parents so we could have this open dialogue and let's like get to the root because man, some of the things that we're seeing happening now, it's like it's I don't even have a word for it. Um, it's really heartbreaking um, to see. I know personally so many kids that are in between those things. And so when you talk about a kid who's developing, and when you said putting them in a game and they're not ready for it, how it can discourage them from the sport. I'm seeing so many kids walk away because of just those things you just named. And some of it's parental, some of it's school, right? Because to run, some schools where the other side of it is happening and it's not happening right from the school perspective. So I just put that in, man. And I just felt led just listening to your wisdom on it. That's something we can talk about. But those that are going to be watching this, I want you to think about it, right? Think about little Johnny, little Andriana, whoever your kid is. Um, we have to navigate. And even though me and Tehran, we went really in depth using that analogy, the same principle could be for theater if they're in theater. It could be if they're in choir or if they're in the band or whatever extracurricular activity they are a part of. You still have to deal with the parental side of things. So, man, that's a great response, man, and I appreciate it. And please do not forget to hold that shirt up at the end of the podcast. I gotta order a bunch of those. I got some kids I want to bless with it. So, man, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Now, before we transition, ladies, do you have anything that you want to share? I know it's Coach Tehran. I know Rachel coached, and she coaches. So, Rachel, I know you definitely have some insight on it. And Miss V, you just holding out on me. I didn't know you was coaching and slam dunking and spiking the
Four
ball.
years,
4 years.
4 years coaching
And you
those seventh
find
grade girls.
Oh my goodness, you find so much out about people, man, and so it's incredible. Come on, Rachel. Come on, Miss Victoria. Y'all give me some insight on what Tehran shared. I thought that was real good.
Um, I guess for me, I coach volleyball. I'm the head coach at Milby High School. And so like you said, I do just try to focus on the leadership points, the character building, the team
Yeah.
building. And if they see that's your main focus, the parents, the kids, they buy into it and they want to
Right.
be there. They like the structure. That's another thing too. And being pushing that responsibility on them too in the court and in the classroom. They are student
Right.
athletes. You are a student first.
Absolutely.
You are responsible for your classwork, for keeping up with that. And like I said, I tell them too, like, you are more likely to get an academic scholarship before you get an athletic scholarship. So
There you go.
I am proud to say that a lot of my girls, they are in AP classes, doing dual credit
Yeah.
classes. They go off to school. They've gotten full rides,
I love it.
academic scholarships. So UT, I had a girl to go to Penn State. So on academics. So I really, push that and just let them see, I'm here to support you, and whatever comes my way, I'm going to push it out to you. And, it's their responsibility. Let the parents know that too. Yeah. Focus on the
Now,
academics, just not the athletics.
absolutely. Before you go, Ms. Victoria, now, for those who don't know, you heard Teron say he coached college at the college level. He's currently coaching at the high school level, but he also played 4 years football in college. Rachel what did you play? I forgot. Was it
Yeah, I
soccer?
played too. I played volleyball and basketball
Volleyball
at Austin College.
at Austin College. That's right.
Yeah.
So
So,
now I want you to hear this. These are former high school and college players giving you this perspective. What does that say to you, parents?
yeah, and
Because
I didn't get an athletic scholarship. I was a walk-on. So back then it was NAIA. So there are opportunities for
hello,
kids to play, but you got to focus on the academics too. And like
absolutely,
you say, you build that character, you have that discipline, those opportunities will come to you.
absolutely, yeah. By the way, when I was at Paul Quinn, we went down to Austin College and our track team, we bust Austin College.
Oh,
I just had to, I just had to put that in there.
that was way
My
before
bad.
my time.
I'm
Like
sorry, my
way
bad.
before my time.
I'm just saying not two way. All I'm saying is it's in the record books. You go down there, oh my God, okay. I thought that was important for people to know. Okay, Miss Victoria.
I'm just going to sum it all up. I played at Lamar High School. I played basketball. But my passion has always been education. So that's why I made that switch in the middle of my career to just go full education, because there was a war between like the athletic side and then the academic side. But I will say this. The theme that what I got from listening to everything is how you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Those
Yes,
qualities, that mindset you have to take from page to performance, whether it's reading, writing, social studies, math, track, cheerleading, choir, band, theater. I was in all of those things. My mom kept me, she was a single mom. I'm a single mom. We were busy doing something constructive,
Right.
But the same energy, my mama kept that same energy when it came to that essay that I had to write, so it wasn't a selective involvement. It was a total involvement. Church, we're going to be a choir rehearsal on time. We have usher, we have drill team, all of those
You better
things.
preach.
And I learned, because my mom kept me in all those things, your child is very smart. There are things going on developmentally in their brain that allows them to connect experiences. So as they're being successful in football and seeing what it takes to do that in football, we're helping them transfer that to apply it in other areas. So that's what I'm hearing. And that's what I push for my students and for my son and for myself. I saw my mom do it. I don't know if she did it intentionally, but I know God had always, it all worked for good. But I was in everything. And I used to, my mom, I'm so tired. I'm in all these things. But it was that spirit of excellence. And if, in your classroom or on your football field, if you can get them to buy in, build that relationship with the parent and the student and foster, I like how I keep saying Teron, translated the fact that, yes, the coach is the expert, but like when I go to the doctor is the expert on the sickness, but I'm the expert on my child. I know, I'm like, something's just not right. Or, when he's, so it takes two experts to teach your child like the principles of anything. If you have the principles, whether you're good at math or not, that grit is going to take you all the way. It's going to help you to continue to grow. So how you do anything is how you do everything.
I love it. Man, y'all got me fired up. I want to go play a game. I could probably only play about one quarter, but I'm gonna give you everything I got in that one quarter, coach. I'm gonna give it to him. Man, this is so wonderful. There's no way I could articulate this podcast. You guys have to know that God has orchestrated this, man. What I'm seeing happening and hearing in real time, this is incredible. And I hope at home parents, you're taking notes. It's got the think tank on for you, right? And in the time that we have left, I want to we'll talk about this school. I want to kind of capsulize this school year, and really I want us to focus on next year, because basically this school year is over. You guys are either done or getting ready to do testing. Is that correct, guys? Yeah, y'all are getting ready for testing. End of the year, proms are going on, all these things. The seniors that are graduating, I think track season have they already done district? They ran district?
Last week. And so
last week.
Area B this coming up week.
So I just, I don't want to date myself, but I just remember the transition. So those things are happening. But for the most part, the school year is almost over and it's coming to an end. I made this statement to all of the participants that are on. I'm gonna make this statement, and then I'm gonna say something behind the statement, and then I want you guys to chime in, and unless we'll pretty much end the podcast with these thoughts and the things that we say about it. We all know what a year 2021 and 2022 has been. When you look at all of us either live in the city of Houston or surrounding it, okay? The things that have happened in our city, I'm just saying since the school year, the number of death, young people dying, how they died are just skyrocketed. The number of things that the schools are against is skyrocketed. We've already talked about the number of teachers that have walked away from the profession, skyrocketed. In different districts, we see the changeover of leadership. Leadership's changing. There are a lot of factors that have happened. And I made this statement to all of you. I said this, the things that were tolerated and the things that went on in 2021 and the 2022 school year, they will not be tolerated and they will not happen that way in the 2022-2023 year. We know that. My question to you is, as a parent, this would be equivalent to an off season, right? I have all coaches on, and especially for football, once football season is over, those kids that don't run track and play basketball or baseball, it's heavy off season until spring training. Well, school is about to be out, and as families, we're getting ready to go into an off season. From the professionals, right? What are some of the things that we can do in this off season to reset? Because I believe in resetting. Sometimes, like I said, man, we got D's on this report card. Whatever my talk is with my kids, one of the things I said I wanted to do, I didn't ever want to be the type of parent to just exhaust something bad that happened or something negative. I just didn't want to keep repeating it. I'm going to say what I have to say about it. I'm going to let you know how I feel. After that, I'm going to move on. And then I'm going to put an expectation in place. And I want you to strive for that expectation. So with saying we started off, hey, this is a D report card. In the off season, how can we get this D up to a C or to a B minus or B plus or A minus or A plus? So from you, I want I want to spend the rest of this podcast hearing from you, telling me as a parent, as a community, right? Or even as a school, whatever you feel led to share. I want you to share those things. And my prayer is that parents would take these things to heart. I'm listening. That's what I do. My wife, I spend so much time talking with parents, counseling with parents, trying to help them and their kids and us be better parents. How can we do it as a community, right? How you do something is how you do everything, right? What can we do? And I'll be quiet and I'll let you talk. But let me say this too. I said I was going to say this. I want people to know what a difference a teacher makes. Um, when I was in college, I went to college for communication. We didn't have communication and broadcast at my university, but I knew I wanted to run this mouth, right? That's one of the things I was going. And I figured I wanted to do it and I wanted to travel the world. That was my plan. But watch this. My sophomore year in college, my best friend and another one of the guys that was on the basketball team with us, they were both elementary education majors. I was watching them. We'd have heartfelt conversations. I'm telling you, I know without a doubt, God revealed to me in college that, man, you need to be a teacher. Watch this. I wanted to be a high school basketball coach and a high school history teacher. Now, in high school, I wasn't known as being a great student. And parents, I want you to hear this. This is no secret. I've shared it before. In the eighth grade, I failed the eighth grade. I failed it because I played the whole year. Now, my plan was my mom gonna feel sorry for me and she's gonna allow me to go to summer school. But she was like, no, homeboy, this is the hand that you dealt. This is the hand that you've dealt yourself. You're gonna play this hand. So she said to teach you a lesson, you're gonna repeat the eighth grade. And my prayer is that this is broken off your life. It'll never happen again. And she allowed me to stay in the eighth grade. So I didn't graduate on time. But let me tell you what happened in the second term of going to the eighth grade. We had a history teacher who just passed away early this year. Her name was Miss Hutt. I developed a love for history because of my teacher. And to this day, it's still my favorite subject. Now, I'm not teaching in any school district, but those that know me know I'm a teacher of life. I didn't get to do it on that side. And it's because of some choices that I made. That's not why I'm sharing this. But I am sharing with you is that when there's a partnership, my mom, she didn't care what anybody said. I was going to repeat the eighth grade. But Miss Hutt said, I'm so glad your mama made you repeat. She said, you are so much better than what you behaved last year. She said, not only are you going to pass the eighth grade, I'm not worried about that. But she said, this experience you're going to have, she said, it's going to change your life forever. And she was right. It was a painful pill to have to stay. Our middle school and our high school are right across the street from each other. So at lunch, I would have to go to the edge of the street, see all my friends across the street at high school. It was so painful. I'm sharing this analogy because that's what we see happening in a society. There are a group of kids who are crossing the street of life and they're going on. Then we have another group of kids who are constantly having to repeat. Next year, the repeat is going to look different than what it's ever looked. And my cry is to parents, let's do every single thing that we can do. I don't care if I got a partner with, I don't even care if you don't like the teacher, but whatever it's going to take for you to help little Johnny get across the street, that's what I care about. So teachers, talk to us about this up and coming year. What do we need to do to have a better year, supporting the school and helping our families?
Okay, I'll start. I'm gonna start from a parent point of view and parent perspective. As soon as the bell rings and I get my child back for the summer, the question is, what are we gonna do? We have to have a plan. We can't just haphazardly leave them for the summer to, I know certain situations where students are just at home all summer not doing anything. What's the plan? You have to have a plan. For 8 months or 9 months, they have had a plan every day. You have to set your priorities as far as reflecting with your child. I don't care if they're in kindergarten or they're a senior in high school. Let's have a beginning of the year conversation, middle of the year conversation, end of the year reflection conversation. It's kind of like what you do on your job when you get evaluated with your boss. It's the same type of thing, making that real world application, talking to your child. How do you think this year went? What were the glows that we did well? And what were some things that we need to work on, right? And then from there, create a plan over the summer. This is a partnership between me and my kid now. Yeah, it could be, it's the church, it's the school and all that. I'm bringing this back to ownership. It's summertime. This is really my part now. Like, I'm a teacher, but I'm a parent. So what are the STEM programs available in my neighborhood? What is the library? The libraries, they do read alouds. They bring people from the zoo with reptiles and things that they can give your child experiences over the summer. Learning does not stop when they come home. Matter of fact, you have the most precious opportunity to magnify the things that your child has learned. That background knowledge that they need when they're reading a text, they get that from the experiences you provide them in their life. And so if they're reading a star passage about the Grand Canyon, they've never even seen a rock. You have to give them those experiences, and during the summer, I think that's the perfect opportunity to just take everything that you're, and if you don't feel like the school has supported you, reach out, Google, what are some local activities, museums, things that can help solidify and even accelerate your child's learning, because that's a powerful thing to be able to do as a parent.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing she was saying about the enrichment and getting students involved in programs over the summer. There are a lot of, even if it's a money thing, there are a lot of free activities that parents can take part in. And I know in Houston, like the museum is free. All the museums are free on Thursdays. Some of the school districts, they provide summer bridge programs, and even athletics, doing camps in the summer, just something to get them motivated, to get them out of the house and just not on the game all day long. And I'm an English teacher, so I really like when students have a story to tell about the summer. Like, what did you do over summer? Even if it's not getting on a plane and traveling somewhere. In Houston, there's so many national parks, Galveston, you can just drive so many places just to have those different experiences. Also giving them opportunities to do things outside of just academics. If they are into theater, into art, find programs or summer camps. It can be like 1-day camps, a week camp. But yes, definitely have kids that have those experiences that they wouldn't normally just have in during the school year. It's really important. So I agree with that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I appreciate all those tangible things that they said, and I would say there's a lot of things we could mention, the activities that these students, your kids, can do. I'll say, if as you're thinking about ways to help your son and daughter develop, problem solving skills is something that I think a lot of kids are lacking, and it goes into what Victoria said earlier. When she mentioned a good buzzword in education use, is growth mindset. And so understanding that it's okay to mess up. And like you said at the beginning, Harry, it's okay if you have a D on your report card, but you can't continue to keep Ds and not be able to raise that up somewhere. And so just having a growth mindset over the summer and understanding that, okay, you might not be the best reader at the beginning of the summer. And I don't expect you to go from a 5th grade reading level to a 12th grade reading level in a few months, but just being happy with the ladders of, just getting better, a little bit better every week or every 2 weeks or whatever, athletically academically, behaviorally, and solving those problems like that would just be good goals that you can have during the summer, that I think a lot of students are lacking. Just problem solving and just having a growth mindset and getting better at a little bit during the summer.
I also wanted to say maintaining a schedule in the summer too, and
Yeah,
routines. That's a big thing.
routine.
You just
That's it.
don't get to have free for all, stay up as late as you want, wake up as late as you want. No, there still needs to be some type of routine.
Routine and responsibility.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not here trying to tell you, we're not here trying to tell you what to do, but I remember the things that kept us focused. I grew up in the country. Uh, I've been cutting yards a long time. um, we worked um, to run all of the, and I'm gonna refer to you as coaches right now. To run really hit the nail on the head, like the things we learn that sports teaches us, but responsibility teaches you those same things. Me and my brother were pretty much took care of everything that happened outside, even though he and I still had to wash dishes. We still had to mop the floor like my sister. My mom gave us responsibility. And having those responsibilities kept us tethered in such a way. Um, when school, it was, even though we knew the summer was coming, when school started, it was like we were right back in the saddle. It was not a warm up. It wasn't I got to get back acclimated. No, no, no. It's because of what she put in place. And I believe today, for me, it's the same thing with my life. I don't care what little off season or breaks happen for my family or us, because of my mindset and because of how I grind at life, it's it's just I have a no time off. And I think we need to teach them those concepts, even though we know you got to rest, you need to take vacation when you can. And there's sometimes, man, you just need to sit down, just shut your mind down, read a book, if you like jazz, whatever those things are, we got to do those. But I'm telling you, you need to have that type of responsibility about you. One of the things I wanted to encourage parents, if you're able to do it, it could be at a greater level, lesser level, but I think give your kids responsibility. And I want you to give kids responsibility in this way. This is what I'm going to do this summer. We're not going to go to California. We're not going to go to Disney, and we're not going to do that type of vacation this year. Like Teron started the podcast off where I wanted to end it. That's why I know this thing has been set up for us. He talked about an era. He talked about the 1960s. I'm so passionate about those that came before us. We know about all of the things that happened in the 1960s. Um, some of them specifically, it's allowing us to be sitting here on the podcast together, sharing our opinions and our thoughts. None of this happens if you take the 1960s out of time. It doesn't happen. We all know that. So I'm grateful for somebody having responsibility enough to do something that they themselves would never partake of. So as a parent, there are some things I have to put in place from a responsibility standpoint. That means I might be a part of the baseball league and we play 2 games a night. Because of what my child is going through, I'm gonna have to bypass the baseball league this year. I may not be able to be in the bowling league this year because the cries of my kids, the attention that they need, I'm gonna have to readjust some things. I might not be able to be in the bid whist tournament, whatever it is. In other words, we have to reevaluate, and we have to learn how to readjust or realign our lives. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my kids first. I'm taking them to Tulsa because I want them to go see the Tulsa massacre. It's so important for me for them to go see. Um, when we did the mental health podcast, the first episode, I wanted to show the world there was a time in our lives where there was no mental health. It's in the book of Genesis. There was a time, there were cities, there were places, there were spaces where people who looked like you and me were doing business at a level that they said we couldn't do it. And I think sometimes when you give them the responsibility to show them what was done for you what was done. I mean, what you have the possibility to do and see in a time when they did it, and to give them responsibility to know that, hold on, wait. Life is more than about my social media feed. Life is more than about me getting some new J's. Life is more than me liking him or her liking me, or me, all these other, and I'm not knocking any of it. I'm not, because as a teenager, we had our fads, right? So I'm not trying to rain on their parade. That's not what I'm doing. But I am wanting to put some things into perspective, right? And so I want to take them, not want to, I'm going to take them. And then this is the other thing that I want to do. I'm believing to be able to take 10 other kids who are not mine. I want to make an investment in somebody else's kid to show them it's more to you than meets the eye. And I'm putting a responsibility on you to be a better person. There's more in you. You can be better. I want you to be a better first. Just be a better person. But now I'm challenging you to be a better student. I'm challenging you to challenge yourself to be stretched in places you never imagined being stretched. I'm thankful that the world recognized and everybody's talking about the Tulsa massacre now. But I found out about it in 1991 when I went to college, when I went to Paul Quinn. I could not believe that that happened. When I find it, it shook me. Once I got over the shock of it, I began to open it up and look at how powerful it was, right? So it may not be that. It may be something else. It may be something in Texas you could take them to, or something local you can take them to, right? And I'll give you another example. It's some of you may have seen it, maybe you haven't. There's a series on Netflix called High on the Hog. It's a 3-part series. Sit your kids down. Hey, say, look, we're gonna do a movie night. Trust me, you can do a movie night, Netflix, 3 hours. I went with my kids and watched Spider-Man. It was 3 hours long. I went to sleep on it. And Spider-Man ain't gonna help me do anything in life. Like, it's things like this that's gonna teach them about themselves, teach them who they are. Like, sometimes they need that responsibility. If you ask kids today, they can't tell you anything about the civil rights movement. We know. Why do we know? There was a generation that made sure we understood why we got what we have and where we are now. So guess what? You might not want to hear this, but it's the truth. All of us on here, we are our parents now. So I embrace that responsibility of my grandfather, my grandmother. I tell young people all the time, that's okay. You don't have to respect me, but you're going to respect my grandfather and my great grandfather. Okay. All right. I'm up. Say calm. Tell them to calm down. All right, calm down. No, this education from the inside out is very important to me, and I believe it's important to you. And what I want you to do now, New Balance podcast, show some love for Victoria Dominique, Teron Gidry, and Rachel Mackey. This has been so phenomenal. I wish I had another hour with you guys, because I know you're full of it. I promise you. I could show you. I got other stuff written down here I want to talk about, but we don't have the time today. Perhaps there's going to be another time. I do have another panel that's going to be chopping a few things up, and I'm excited to hear what they say. But I knew this particular team, God orchestrated for us to be together, and I'm so glad we did this. I believe people are going to be talking about this podcast for a while, and if you watch this or listening and it's like, man, I hear some of the things, and maybe I have some questions about some of the things you just said, submit those questions. I have access to these individuals. I'll share those questions with them, and we can get you the answers that you're looking for. They're very knowledgeable in their fields, and hey, I highly recommend them in what they do. You'll get a good balance of life and education. So I'm just thankful, man. I'm just really thankful. So as we always do on the New Balance podcast, I always like to have closing word from the guest. So whoever wants to go, we'll do this. I'll start with Dominique. We'll go to Victoria. We'll start with Victoria first, then we'll go to Miss Rachel, and then we'll end with Coach Gidry on final words on the podcast.
All right. Enjoy the time. Thank you, Harry, for allowing us this opportunity to use your platform to just kind of get the word out about
Oh,
things that are
absolutely.
very important. My business, my tutoring company, my educational consulting company is called Miseducated, and my slogan is "Life is the classroom." Life is the classroom. You learn if you,
Yes.
keep your eyes open. I'm a Christian, so at the top of my education, the first thing is what God says, and
Absolutely.
from there, everything else follows. If God said 1+1 was 3, that's what I'm going with. But, you know,
Hello.
as an
Hello.
educator, just knowing that life is your classroom, you can
Right.
use everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, to get a theme out of life or to get a lesson. So always remember that, whether you're a
Mm.
parent, a teacher, a school leader, life is always speaking, God is always speaking. And if you keep your spirit in tune with that, everything else will flow.
Oh man, we appreciate you so much, Miss Victoria. Miss Rachel.
I just want to end with, I guess, the term of be intentional. For our parents, be intentional in your parenting, be intentional in building relationships with your children as they grow. You need to, those relationships should grow. You should know who your kids are, not just teachers building relationships with your kids. So just be intentional in setting goals for your children, and also setting goals for your family, and be intentional with those life experiences that they can use and translate as they continue to grow. That's it.
Great
Thank you.
word. When you said that, be intentional, you are the poster child for being intentional. Like I love how you stretch Edwin. Edwin is her son. Um, and I can say this on here, secret. Growing up, and it's no knock on any family. Please don't email me and send me all the crazy stuff. It's not like that. Rachel is family, but y'all know, growing up, there was just certain things that we were exposed to. Um, we were gonna go to Six Flags.
Yeah.
Um, we were gonna go to the barbecue, cookout at Big Mama house. We might have got to do a little traveling, but that was the extent in a lot of cases, right? I said that to say, when she said be intentional, when I look at the things you're doing with your son Edwin, I love every bit of it. You are forcing him to consider all things,
Yeah.
and you're doing it by being intentional. If you just kept it in, a lot of times, if we're not, if we don't have a gift to sing, if we don't have a gift to dance, or if we don't have a gift to catch a touchdown pass, it seems as though that's all we've been maximized to do. But as a race of people, we are so much more.
So
So
much
when
fun.
she says be intentional, you have homework to do. Study your children, look at your children, talk to your children, find out. You got him out there catching touchdowns, and you may have the next architect in your house. You may
Yeah.
have the next engineer. And trust me, I love sports. I'm for it. But I know all of us can't be Adrian Peterson. All of us can't be LeBron James. Some of us can barely be good enough to get a scholarship to go to college, right? So what I'm saying is, be intentional, open up your mind. Matter of fact, some of you as parents, you learned it later in life. You're like, man, I really can cook.
Yeah.
Like I could Kentucky Fried Chicken. No. You need to have BB's chicken. You get what I'm saying? So, but what if somebody would have invested in you when you were 12 and gave you
Yeah.
an opportunity to cook, introduce you to culinary school? Like, I'm telling you, it's so important. So Rachel, see, man, Rachel be pulling me back in. I'm trying to close it. She talking about big. I'm gonna leave it alone, man. But that was a great comment. You get what I'm
Thank you.
saying? Yeah, be intentional and stretch it. Stretch yourself.
Yeah.
That's why we're going to Tulsa. I want them to see it. And then next year we're going to go to Washington to go see
African American
the
Museum.
African American. They got to
Yeah.
go see it.
Yeah.
Everybody that comes back says, you got to go see the Emmett
You
Till
got
room.
to, yeah.
They said this, you got to go see it. It's life changing. So guess what? We're going. And I don't want to just take my kids. I want to help somebody with somebody else's. Anyway, man. T, go ahead. Coach,
Awesome.
come on, man.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody for listening. One thing I'll just leave you with is just continue to use wisdom. It's always great if you can be smart and get it right the first time.
Oh my
But
God.
hopefully, you understand that you're not perfect, just like myself, and we've all made mistakes, and that you can continue to learn and continue to grow. And I like that key word, growth mindset. Again, just have a growth mindset and getting better every day. And then, like you said, I'll do a shameless plug of this shirt that I'm not making any money from. Obviously, it's just a shirt that I like, that I'm aware, product of my choices. And it says product of my environment, and you cross it out and it says choices at the end. And understand that, everything that you do has a reaction. And so, make the right choices and continue to grow, man, and everything will work itself out. Be blessed.
Incredible, man. I'm not going to touch anything else, man, because we'll go on. I'm so, like I said, I'm so just grateful, and I appreciate each and every one of you for your labor of love. And to my New Balance podcast listeners and watchers, man, we got another one for you. Well, it's time to get out of here. And as we always say, it's strength for today, sustenance for tomorrow. It's your boy H2O, your potential conditioner. And we'll see you when we see you. Peace. Oh, man.